Hey fellow travelers, Mark here with Wolters World, and we're in Prague in the Czech Republic. We've got the town hall behind me. That's where the astronomical clock is. Next to it you can see it go off with the skeleton and all kinds of stuff. And guys, I'll be honest, Prague is one of the coolest cities in Europe. It's in my top 10 list and probably my top 3 list. Paris, here, and Rome are probably my 3 favorite cities in Europe. But even my favorite places like Prague, there's stuff you're gonna love and there's stuff you're gonna hate. So that's why we have for you the 5 things you're gonna love and hate about visiting Prague. So, let's get the bad news out of the way first. Now, I'm here at 7 o'clock in the morning, or 8 o'clock in the morning, I guess it's 8:35, 8:40 in the morning on a Sunday morning, and there's not that many tourists here. But just take my word for it, in a couple hours, the walk from here in the town square to Charles Bridge will be packed with tourists, and you're gonna fight your way through, and people are gonna be asking you to buy stuff or sell stuff or whatever, and it gets a bit annoying. So the first thing you're gonna hate is the walk. From here in the town square, basically to up to the Castle Hill, or at least to Charles Bridge, because of all the tourists there, and the bumping and the shoving and all kinds of stuff. So just be prepared for a lot of tourists here, because this city is fantastic and they come from everywhere to enjoy this great city. So just bring your patience, or pack your patience to come along with you, okay? But just know that walk from here at the Stare Mesto, the Old Town Square, to Charles Bridge can get a little hectic. Especially when there's been a lot of drinking on a Friday or Saturday night, okay? So now the second thing you're not gonna like about coming to Prague is the fact that since it's so popular and it's so awesome, tons of tourists do come here. And I know I talked about that, just a gaggle of people going between things, but also when you have that many tourists, you also have all the tourist traps and all those things. So yes, if you're in any of the touristy areas, they do overprice the restaurants. Now they're not as bad as like in Vienna and places like that, but you're not going to get that cheap, Central Europe meal that you think you're going to have. If you want to have your cheap meal, literally take a bus or just walk a few blocks away from the main drags, and one, it'll be empty. You'll have plenty of space to do stuff, but also the food and the hotels will be a lot cheaper, and so you kind of get away from the tourist trap stuff. Some of the other stuff about the tourist trap nature is when you take out cash, they usually give you big bills, and there'll be somebody probably next to you say, hey, do you want to exchange those bills? Do you want to exchange those things? Just tell them, no, leave me alone. Okay, also you have a lot of beggars and drunks here asking for money, and buskers. Sometimes the buskers are pretty cool. But, you have all these people, since there are all these tourists here to get them, so you have those kind of bad things about being such a tourist mecca that Prague is. The third thing you're not going to like, or actually might love about Prague, is it is a party city. And with that you have the party central atmosphere, and there's great nightlife and partying and drinking and all kinds of stuff, which is fantastic, if that's what you came here for. Now, I was here on a Saturday night and it was like 6 o'clock and the streets were already full of a lot of drunk people. And if you're coming around with your kids, or you're not, wanting to get harassed by drunks all the time, do your sightseeing earlier in the day, because once it gets like 6, 7, that's when the party tourists are coming out, and you do have a lot of the drunks and stuff like that. And sometimes they don't cause problems, but we know, 7 or 8 guys together, all drunk, someone wants to show they're a man, you do have some issues there. And also, even in the morning, there's still people, stumbling home. When I was filming earlier, this guy's trying to I'm like, oh, brother. So just know that that's one of those things. Now, if you're here to party, then that's not a hate. But if you're doing the touristy thing, just be prepared to get a lot of your stuff out of the way earlier rather than later. The fourth thing you're not going to like about Prague is it's not as cheap as you think it's going to be. Now, if you're from the US, you probably think, oh, Prague, that's in the Czech Republic, Czechoslovakia. They were behind the Iron Curtain, so that's Eastern Europe. And for Americans, Eastern Europe means cheap. Guys, Prague is not Eastern Europe. Prague is Central Europe. Okay, the prices here are closer to Germany and Austria than they are to Poland, Ukraine, those kind of places over there, more towards the east. Okay, now with that, it's not expensive though. Like, I had a fantastic meal yesterday. Duck, you have to eat the duck. A few beers, because it's a party central thing. I wasn't a bad tourist, don't worry. And I had the dessert and all kinds of stuff, and it was 20 euros. I ate really well. So, but it's not like when I lived in Lithuania when I'd have that and it would be like, 7 euros. Okay, so you may expect Prague to be cheap because you think it's Eastern Europe, but it's not Eastern Europe cheap. It is normal price. So I look at the prices here kind of like a little bit of a discount from the US, whether it's hotels or eating, but it's still a good deal, but it's not as cheap as you think it's going to be, so just prepare yourself for that. And the fifth thing you're not going to like about when you come to Prague is, I would say your first impressions if you're coming in with the train. Now, they've redone the train station, so it's much better than it was. And when you come out, you'll be like, wait, this is better? Yes, it is much better. You can see the dome on top and all these things. And if you've been traveling through Europe, you're used to these wide open train stations. Well, this one isn't. It's a very enclosed train station. And the thing is, when you come out of the train station here, there are, you know, some unsavory sorts and things like that, and you feel very worried when you come out. You're like, I just got to get to Venislav Square and then walk down there. Where's all the nice buildings? Where's all the nice tourist stuff? And you don't have that when you first get out of the station. So don't worry. That's just around the station till you get there. There will be some drunks and some people you'll think, is that guy a drug addict or something? So we'll get a little worrisome. So be smart when you leave the station. Have all your stuff ready, you know, backpack on, stuff on, and just make that, it's like a 3 or 4 block walk, and then you're out of the problem area. But that's just one of the things that kind of, you know, turns you off, because this is such a fantastic city with amazing architecture, but by the train station you get kind of scared by it. Well, not by the architecture, by what's going on. So those are the 5 things that I don't like about Prague, but I'll be honest guys, Prague will change your vacation. It is a fantastic place to go. Architecture, people, food, all kinds of stuff. But I should get into the 5 things you're gonna love. And the first thing you're gonna love about Prague is the architecture and all of the history that's here. The town square, you know, the starting Mesto with all the churches and the buildings here, going, you know, the Castle Hill, going up there to see St. Vitus Cathedral, walking where Kafka walked, seeing the amazing architecture. And that's what's great, is Prague was not destroyed during the war, or relatively undamaged during the war. So you walk around and you have these fantastic buildings everywhere, okay? Everywhere. So you can imagine, wow, this is what Berlin would have looked like. This is what Munich would have looked like if the war, you know, it wasn't destroyed during the war. And you see these things, you just take in, it's like, wow, Europe truly is amazing, and the architecture truly is amazing. And that's the first thing you're gonna love. It's just the architecture of walking around and taking it all in. You know, and taking things in like the astronomical clock on the town hall, or going into St. Vitus Cathedral to hear, you know, well, you don't have to go for church, but go as a tourist, or going to the opera, all kinds of stuff. There's just so much there to really, you know, just make you love it. The second thing you're gonna love about coming to Prague is Charles Bridge. And I'm gonna say, watching the sunrise on Charles Bridge is one of the most beautiful things you can see in Europe. Now, it's summertime now, so it comes up at 5 in the morning. I was here in the winter when it came up at 9. It was a lot easier to see it then. But if you can get up, or if you're partying all night, just stay until the sun comes up. And seeing the sun come up on Charles Bridge is, seriously, that's your picture perfect postcard of Europe, no matter what day of the year it is, and it is fantastic. But walking on the Charles Bridge, seeing the buskers and the tourists, the view of the castle and the city and everything. Also, when you're on there, you need to, you know, you'll see people rubbing this guy falling off the bridge kind of thing on a plaque. Well, that was a monk or a priest who didn't want to divulge the secrets to the king's wife, so he threw him off the bridge, basically, and so that's where his thing is there. So you rub it for good luck, okay? The third thing you're going to love about coming to Prague is going out and enjoying the Czech beer and the Czech food. Because guys, the thing is crazy here is, since they have all these tourists, all the restaurants have Italian food or American food or German food, and then they'll have a section saying Czech cuisine. Guys, only order from the Czech cuisine part, because the food here is great. Lots of pork, lots of dumplings, and my personal favorite, I always get this, is the duck with the dumplings and red cabbage. It is to die for. I probably will have that 4 times in the 4 days I'm here, okay? Because it is so good. And it's not just the food, the beer. I mean, Czech is world famous for its beer for a good reason. Pilsner beer was born in the Czech Republic, so when you're here, drink the beer. You can drink wine, but drink the beer to see, you know, the difference between what the real Budweiser is versus the Budweiser back home. I like them both, but one I like a little bit better. Okay? The fourth thing you're going to love about coming to Prague is exploring all the different districts. Now, they have the Jewish district you can go to and see the Jewish cemetery and the museum there, and I'm going to tell you, it's a very moving experience, but I really recommend you do it. Get a guide to really get even more out of it. You can stay here in the old town and see all these things here. You can go up to Castle Hill along the way. There's all kinds of districts for you to explore, and you can explore them on foot. And that's what's great about Prague, is you can get around very easily on foot. And you can take public transport, but I kind of would rather recommend you walk to take in more of the architecture and the ambiance, because it is fantastic. And the fifth thing you're going to love about coming to Prague is the energy. You know, when you're backpacking through Europe, or you're traveling through Europe, sometimes you get kind of like a boring city here and there, things like that, and it can zap your energy. Other times you can come to a city and it revitalizes you, re-energizes you, and Prague is that city. You come here and you're like, yes, I'm in Europe. I'm getting goosebumps just talking about Prague. And the energy of this city, yes, it has great nightlife. Yes, it has great architecture. Yes, the people are fantastic. You know, you just learn a few words, dziękuję, or whatever, you know, the pivo, beer. I mean, they're so happy and so friendly that if you get to know them, they're awesome. And all of that coming together makes the city to have such a fantastic energy about it that you'll just love it and you want to come back again and again and again and again and again and again and again. I think this is my 9th or 10th time in Prague because I love it so much, just because the energy just gets you going, you know. And if you don't like the beer and you don't like the nightlife, if you don't like architecture and you don't like cool museums or history, they also have great shopping here too, okay, for that energy thing. So crystal, marionettes, all kinds of fantastic stuff, beer memorabilia. So those are the 5 things that I love and hate about Prague, and I'm not gonna lie to you, I guarantee you're gonna love Prague because it is an awesome place to go, an awesome place to be, and an awesome place just to love and enjoy. So I hope that helps you get more out of Prague. If you want to learn more, top 10 sites, 10 facts about Prague, all kinds of other stuff, check us out at our website at woltersworld.com. We're also on Twitter and Facebook, and we appreciate your likes and subscriptions. And bye from Prague and the Czech Republic. Awesome place, you gotta go. Bye.